That was awesome. That was very, very cool. That's how you talk them into it. See how many times I had to throw in there? You know, that right there was a perfect example as to why you want to throw a poppin style frog like the smash mouth popper in a situation like what I've got right here. Number one, you got that nasty hook, which is just awesome. But the presence that the poppin style baits got, as opposed to the regular standard frogs, that blop blop, our water's a little bit higher. We had again, we get rain off and on, and the lake will, when our lakes come up that much, it goes that way. It goes horizontal, man. And when it comes up like that, it really gets out there. So you need to be able to call them from a distance. And that's where this is very key. So as I pull up to these, I love fishing these little hallways. A lot of these little hallways go into little cuts, little ravines where there's just little ditches, little bitty ditches. So if you've got, like in here, I've got maybe 14 inches of water. Call it a foot and a half. Call it 18 inches of water, okay? So I've got 18 inches of water, foot and a half. You go back up through that ditch right there, and there's a little drain out that goes into almost 3 feet of water. That's a 50% change in depth. That's amazing, right? So when you have that, when you have deep next to shallow, even though it's just a foot and a half difference, very, very key. That's where they migrate through. So you've got this little shallow ditch that goes into that little ravine, that little ditch, that little drain out. I pay attention when the lakes are down, and I look for some of those little cuts and little crevices where you can see those little drain outs where you're going down, and you see that little dig out, and you go, wow, if the water was a little bit higher, if there was water covering that, I bet they would use that as like a deer trail, going from here over into that where I can see some standing water back there, but when the lake's down, it's dry land, standing water, little pool, little pond, or another slough, right? Like it's back there. I know that. I saw that when the water was down. Water comes up. I love fishing these hallways just like that go to those back ponds, that go to those back sloughs. But when that water's, I can't get my boat in there. So I've got to call them. So I make multiple casts into an area like that with a poppin style frog. Normally I'm just covering perfect frog, fat frog, skipping it under the bushes, move. But when I get to a key spot like that, that's where the poppin style frog, that smash mouth popper, comes into play.